Hi, my name's Joel Binamira. I write the blog marketmanila.com and otherwise known as Marketman. So today I'm going to be doing 3 dishes based on some basic broths. A lot of people these days, they don't really think about making soups and things that appear to be more complicated because they think it takes too much time. So let me explain first. I'm going to do a Guava Babus dish. And I found some blossoms of tamarind or sampalok in the market this morning, so I want to use that and show you how that is used to give a sour flavor. So into a pot, just take a couple of handfuls of this tamarind blossom and some water, and we'll bring it to a boil, leave it for a few minutes, and it'll actually turn out a nice piquant, pinkish hued broth. Next up is the guava broth itself. And so just to let you see, you don't really have to do anything to it. I prefer the pinkish guava, so I'm hoping to find some pink ones in here. I'm just gonna add a little water. So here's another trick when you're cooking in the kitchen. Always have a kettle of really hot water or boiling water. So as you're making things, you don't have to wait for water to come up to a boil. And it just makes it a whole lot easier. I'm gonna take these flowers. Let's hope it works. So you see that pink hue? It's also extremely flavorful, and it's tart. So it's just that little extra touch of flavor into the soup that I'm hoping to add, so you don't have the single dimension of guava, but instead you have the guava and the tamarind blossoms. Of course, it also sounds a little bit more arte to have both. So if you don't have it, then don't bother. But I just think that's an incredible find for me, color-wise, flavor-wise. And what you want to do is make it a little salty, so some good fish sauce. Quite a bit of salt, because it's kind of plain. But the guava has some sweetness to it, and it has some of that sort of fruity flavor to it. Some pepper. And then I'm going to add in the flour broth that we made. All you have to do is fish out some of the guava solids. Broth now for a sinigang, but this one made with guava and a little bit of tamarind flour. I'm going to add the vegetables, which you would normally see in a sinigang. So after a few minutes in with the kangkong, and then that soup is ready. Too much. While the guava broth is going, I'm going to do the next broth and show you how quick that is to do. So these are ham bones, leftover ham bones. Actually, this one was a ham I made at Christmas and kept the bones in the freezer. Or you can buy the extra ham bones in the grocery from the Majestic ham counter or any other counter. Add some hot water to it. So just some carrots, some onions, and some celery. And you can be pretty random about it. Don't add any salt into the broth yet, because you don't know how salty the bones are. And we can always add a little bit later on. Is this gonna cost more than a 2-piece chicken at Angry Wasp or some fast food chain like that. And yes, it does. It costs cheaper and it's good. So I just poured in, a concentrated chicken broth that I make. So the only purpose of the bones was to flavor the broth. And it seems a waste to throw them away now. You can actually make one more broth with this. Into that broth, we're going to add one chicken or half a chicken, which comes from the grocery. And it's really already roasted. So this is the really simple, nice part about the soup. Okay, so that's just gonna take a few minutes to heat up. Then take a sayote. I never knew sayote had seeds. It just shows you how many times I've cooked with sayote before.
So you do eat this soup? You can. What kind of ham is this one?
This is just a majestic ham from the grocery, but any country ham should do fine. I'm just leaving some out to garnish the fine soup. I can put the vegetables in with this. So into the vegetables. Just the last bit of black pepper. And I'm gonna turn that off just a bit. So that's done. So for the third broth, what I have is just some shells of shrimp that I peeled earlier. So into the pot, some butter. And it's really easy to go buy a shrimp cube. So people are going to say, why bother? Because the flavor is different. I think the flavor is different. So, fry up the shrimp shell. It doesn't take very long. And I'm just going to add a couple of things like some celery. And again, it doesn't really matter that I'm not cutting it in any decent portion. In fact, sometimes you don't even have to peel the onions, although now look at that, it's turning brown at the bottom. And that's exactly what you want. Otherwise, you get this sort of neither here nor there flavor. It's a little bit of salt, but again, we can salt it a lot more later on. About a cup of wine. White wine if you have it, red if you don't have white. It's just, again, to add depth of flavor. And then there are two things I'm gonna add. One is a sofrito. Okay, if you want to get complicated, put tomato paste. But this takes me about 3 hours to make. So it's slow cooked onions and then tomatoes. And then a little bit of saffron if you like to sort of enrich the rice a little later on. Still really hot and coming up to the bubble. Then take about 10 cups of water. I measured this earlier. And add that in. That's pretty much it. Those are the 3 stocks done in 15 minutes or less, I gather. So about 3 tablespoons of butter. So 3 cups of arborio rice or short grain rice if you have it. And then the sofrito, which is the slow cooked onions and tomatoes. So just take the broth, roughly 2.5 times the broth compared to your rice. So 3 cups of rice is about 7 to 8 cups of broth. And you notice I started off with 10 cups of water, so I kind of know I will have 8 cups of broth. So what we have is mud crab or alimango, and it's already been cleaned and ready to go into this dish. And in addition, we have some tanige or Spanish mackerel and some squid and some shrimp. Essentially, we just peeled a kilo worth of shrimp and used the shells in that broth. And then all of this good stuff is going in that rice as well. You start with the crab because that takes the longest. I'm going to add fish. Then add in the squid. So it's really like seafood with rice as opposed to rice with seafood, because there's so much stuff in it. And then the shrimp. If you add the salt a bit too early into this dish, the rice has difficulty softening. And some pepper. So there you have it, the whirlwind broth tour through the Marketman kitchen. As you can see, in an hour and a half, we were able to make all the base broths for 3 different dishes. The arroz con mariscos, which is like a wet risotto with lots of seafood in it, with a shrimp broth. And then perhaps my favorite soup of all today is the ham broth soup with chicken and vegetables. And finally, the seasonal guava broth, sinigang, with a little bit of the tamarind flour with bangus in it. As you can see, it didn't take that long. It was a little bit of a mess in the kitchen, but that's the way I cook, and I hope you can try some of these dishes at home.